story tells what you can do in this world. You will never lose the capacity to place yourself elsewhere and make it here. You will never lose the ability to give unto yourself what you are bold enough to appropriate as true of self. Now we turn to a strange story in the Old Testament, one that very few priests and rabbis will be bold enough to mention from their pulpits. Here is one who is going to receive the promise as you now receive it. His name is Jesus. Only the ancients call him Joshua. Jehoshua ben Nur, or Savior, son of the fish, the savior of the great deep. Nun means fish, and fish is the element of the deep, the profound ocean. Jehoshua means Jehovah saves, and Ben means the offspring or son of. So he was called the one who brought the fish age. This book is in the 6th book of the Bible, the book of Joshua. A promise is made to Joshua as it is made to Jesus in the angelicized form in the Gospel of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. In the Gospel of John, Jesus says, "All things whatsoever thou hast given me are of thee." John 17:7. And all mine are thine, and thine are mine. John 17:10. In the Old Testament, in the book of Joshua, it is said in these words, "Every place that the sole of your foot shall tread upon, that have I given unto you." Joshua 1:3. It doesn't matter where it is. Analyze the promise and see if you can accept it literally. It is not physically true, but it is psychologically true. Wherever you can stand in this world mentally, that you can realize. Joshua is haunted by this promise that wherever he can place his foot, the foot is understanding. Wherever the sole of his foot shall tread, that will be given unto him. He wants the most desirable state in the world, the fragrant city, the delightful state called Jericho. He finds himself barred by the impassable walls of Jericho. He is on the outside, as you are now on the outside. You are functioning three-dimensionally, and you cannot seem to reach the fourth-dimensional world where your present desire is already a concrete objective reality. You cannot seem to reach it because your senses bar you from it. Reason tells you it is impossible. All things round about you tell you it is not true. Now you employ the services of a harlot and a spy, and her name is Rahab. The word Rahab simply means the spirit of the Father. Ra means the breath of a spirit, and Ab, the Father. Hence, we find that this harlot is the spirit of the Father, and the Father is man's awareness of being aware, man's I amness, man's consciousness. Your capacity to feel is the great spirit of the Father, and that capacity is Rahab in this story. She has two professions, that of a spy and that of a harlot. The profession of a spy is this: to travel secretly, to travel so quietly that you may not be detected. There is not a single physical spy in this world who can travel so quietly that he will be altogether unseen by others. He may be very wise in concealing his ways, and he may never be truly apprehended, but at every moment of time, he runs the risk of being detected. When you are sitting quietly with your thoughts, there is no man in the world so wise that he can look at you and tell you where you are mentally dwelling. I can stand here and place myself in London. Knowing London quite well, I can close my eyes and assume that I am actually standing in London. If I remain within this state long enough, I will be able to surround myself with the environment of London as though it were a solid, concrete, objective fact. Physically, I am still here, but mentally, I am thousands of miles away and I have made elsewhere here. I do not go there as a spy. I mentally make elsewhere here and then now. You cannot see me dwelling there. So you think I have just gone to sleep and that I am still here in this world. this three-dimensional world that is now San Francisco. As far as I am physically concerned, I am here, but no one can tell me where I am when I enter the moment of meditation. Rahab's next profession was that of a harlot, which is to grant unto men what they ask of her without asking man's right to ask. If she be an absolute harlot, as her name implies, then she possesses all and can grant all that man asks of her. She is there to serve and not to question man's right to seek what he seeks of her. You have within you the capacity to appropriate a state without knowing the means that will be employed to realize that end, and you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled without having any of the talents that men claim you must possess in order to do so. When you appropriate it in consciousness, you have employed the spy, and because you can embody that state within yourself by actually giving it to yourself, you are the harlot, for the harlot satisfies the man who seeks her. You can satisfy self by appropriating the feeling that you are what you want to be. And this assumption, though false, that is, although reason and the senses deny it, if persisted in, will harden into fact. By actually embodying that which you have assumed you are, you have the capacity to become completely satisfied. Unless it becomes a tangible, concrete reality, you will not be satisfied. You will be frustrated. You are told in this story that when Rahab went into the city to conquer it, the command given to her was to enter the heart of the city of the matter, the very center of it, and there remain until I come. Do not go from house to house. Do not leave the upper room of the house into which you enter. If you leave the house and there be blood upon your head, it is upon your head. But if you do not leave the house and there be blood, it shall be upon my head. Rahab goes into the house, rises to the upper floor, and there she remains while the walls crumble. That is, we must keep a high mood if we would walk with the highest. In a very veiled manner, this story tells you that when the walls crumbled and Joshua entered, the only one who was saved in the city was the spy and the harlot whose name was Rahab. This story tells what you can do in this world. You will never lose the capacity to place yourself elsewhere and make it here. You will never lose the ability to give unto yourself what you are bold enough to appropriate as true of self. It has nothing to do with the woman who played that part. The explanation of the crumbling of the wall is simple. You are told that he blew upon the trumpet 7 times, and that the 7th blast the walls crumbled, and he entered victoriously into the state that he sought. 7 is a stillness, a rest, the Sabbath. It is the state when man is completely unmoved in his conviction that the thing is. When I can assume the feeling of my wish fulfilled and go to sleep unconcerned, undisturbed, I am at rest mentally and I'm keeping the Sabbath, or I'm blowing the trumpet 7 times. And when I reach that point, the walls crumble. Circumstances alter or remold themselves in a harmony with my assumption. As they crumble, I resurrect that which I have appropriate within. The walls, the obstacles, the problems crumble of their own weight if I can reach the point of stillness within me. The man who can fix within his own mind's eye an idea, even though the world would deny it, if he remains faithful to that idea, he will see it manifested. There is all the difference in the world between holding the idea and being held by the idea. Become so dominated by an idea that it haunts the mind as though you were it. Then, regardless of what others may say, you are walking in the direction of your fixed attitude of mind. You are walking in the direction of the idea that dominates the mind. As we told you last night, you have but one gift that is truly yours to give, and that is yourself. You must press it out of yourself by an appropriation. It is there within you now, for creation is finished. There is nothing to be that is not now. There is nothing to be created, for all things are already yours. They are finished. Although man may not be able to stand physically upon a state, he can always stand mentally upon any desired state. By standing mentally, I mean that you can now, this very moment, close your eyes and visualize a place other than your present one, and assume that you are actually there. You can feel this to be so real that upon opening your eyes, you are amazed to find that you are not physically there. This mental journey into the desired state, with its subsequent feeling of reality, is all that is necessary to bring about its fulfillment. Your dimensionally greater self has ways that the lesser or three-dimensional you know not of. Furthermore, to the greater you, all means are good which promote the fulfillment of your assumption. Remain in the mental state defined as your objective until it has the feeling of reality, and all the forces of heaven and earth will rush to aid its embodiment. Your greater self will influence the actions and words of all who can be used to aid the production of your fixed mental attitude. Thank you for joining me on this transformative journey. As you continue on your path, I extend my sincerest wishes for your growth and fulfillment. I trust that you will subscribe and like the video. Goodbye for now.